and you still did it.
So why did I do it?
So why?
So all the commenters on Time Magazine's article, they can finally get the answer. Why did I do it? Why did I do it? It's really simple. First of all, I never wanted kids. Growing up, I was a camp counselor for many years. I ran a summer camp for a few years. Eventually, I taught kindergarten for 2 years, and after I taught kindergarten, I was like, absolutely not. Hell no, I don't want kids. You guys are monsters. I don't want to deal with nothing about children do I want. And I was already using, by the time I was teaching, I was already using steroids and competing in bodybuilding and all that. And yes, there are signs. There are forums. It's the internet. You can literally find anything you want on the internet. But I had friends that were competitive bodybuilders at the elite level that had children. I have friends that were competitive bodybuilders at the amateur level that had children. So in my mind, it was always like, well, you just reverse it, or like, maybe I'm not, maybe I'll be fine if I go off. I didn't realize when I started taking steroids that one day I would get married. One day I'd have a wife. And one day when I looked at my wife, I'd go, oh no, like kids sound like a good idea. Mm-hmm. You don't think about that thing when you're any of those things when you're young. All you think about is the next day. And all I wanted was to be a competitive bodybuilder. All I wanted to do was make a career out of it. I didn't care what it took. I had a one-track mind. And I definitely, I hear someone in the background. I never took my future into consideration.
Yeah.
Other than bodybuilding, that was my future.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't. I know for me, my lifestyle, and I didn't have a dramatic lifestyle. I had a normal party girl lifestyle, but I never used a legal substance. It was just alcohol, and I ate what everyone else was eating. I was, not unhealthy, but I guess in hindsight, I wasn't healthy. And right. Even if you told me at the beginning of my fertility journey at 27, like, what you're doing right now is having an effect on your fertility, I would be like, no, it doesn't. Like, people get pregnant all the time, exactly like me. And you don't think about, I think a lot of women will be watching this who have been put on the birth control pill from a really young age. It's a substance that hundreds of thousands of women get put on, and a large proportion of them are coming off of it now, and their fertility is absolutely screwed up because their body never naturally has had a cycle. Right. So there's a lot of things. I mean, your case is extreme. Yes, steroids is extreme, but I think it's a very good highlighter for everyone to go, okay, if they're dealing with infertility issues, what am I putting inside my body that could be having this effect? Because it's down to genetics, and I think that's why you see some people can do that and be fine, or, get their sperm health back up, and some people can't. And it's down to your genetics of how much you can, whack your body before it's gonna break.
Before it just taps out, yeah.
Yeah, and you don't know that. No one has that knowledge. It's always hindsight's a bitch, right?
It's absolutely, absolutely. Actually, ever since I finally posted about the article on my page, there are, and any of you gentlemen that have reached out to me, don't worry, I will not speak about you personally, but for all of you that have reached out, there are many of them that are azoosperm for no reason. Mm-hmm. There's no blockage. There's nothing. But they're still going through, or have gone through, the same things that I'm currently going through to at least some extent. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're right. It can happen. I see it in my kind of community. The man's completely healthy, and he goes and gets a sperm count, and it's like, whoa, where did that come from?
Yeah, it's definitely, it's interesting.
Yeah, and so how are you dealing with those changes then? Because it's, for you, kind of explain to people now what you're doing to get some kind of sperm count going.
So we're now going into month 8, and if I'm wrong, I'm sure my wife will correct me in a second. Let's see. Nope. All right, I think we're at month 8. Okay, so I think we're going into month 8 of me trying to I guess essentially rebuild my sperm count. So Oh, somebody just put something there.
Yeah.
I can't read it. I'm going to keep talking. Okay,
Yeah.
So anyways, so for those of you that are in the room, so we're on month 8, and what that means is 8 months ago, my doctors pulled out my testosterone completely. I was on testosterone repair therapy for about a year because my body does not produce any. And we tried to couple HCG with the testosterone, but first we tried to lower the testosterone, and originally I was prescribed 750 IUs every other day. And we cut my testosterone dosage to a quarter, and I wasn't responding. So 8 months ago, we pulled out my testosterone completely, which I'll get into the side effects of that in a second. And 8 months ago, they also then bumped my HCG from 750 to 1500 IUs every other day. And for those of you that don't know, do the math really quickly. There's 12,000 IUs in a bottle. And at that point, I was going through 4,500 a week. And each bottle isn't cheap. So don't forget, I'm talking about the physical and emotional. The financial part is also difficult. So we pulled up my testosterone completely. And 3 months in, I could be messing up the timelines, but 3 months in, we did a semen analysis, and I was still azoospermic. And that was hard because I had been on no testosterone. I had been taking HCG, which was double the original dose, which has its own side effects. And there was still no move on the test, and that was pretty. That was hard. That was a hard pill to swallow. So my doctor at that point was like, "Let's try another 3 months, and let's see what happens with 3." Because then I would have had now 3 months completely with no testosterone in my system. But now going to the next, so he was hoping that from month 3 to month 6, we would see a change because my system would be flushed out of testosterone, which for you gentlemen out there, no testosterone in your sex life don't go hand in hand. So from month 3 to month 6, the regimen was the same. It got bumped to 1,500 IUs every other day. And that semen analysis at the end of that took us from... I'm missing somewhere in here. There was a semen analysis at one point where I think the numbers were I had 500,000, which is 500,000 to you guys is nothing. The ideal number they want to see is somewhere between 20 and 40 million. So 500,000, I know it sounds like a lot. It's nothing. It might as well be a flat zero. Mm-hmm. So I did start producing semen, which is hallelujah. That's great. That was the first sign of hope. So then we stuck on it for another 2 months, which brings me into month 8. And I went from 500,000 to 4.4 million, which I thought, I was like, oh man, at that rate, I was doing the math. At that rate, if I keep going, we should get to that 20 million, no problem. Well, it doesn't work that way. No. Went to the doctor. I was all excited because I was like, I've got 4.4 million. This is great. I get to the doctor, and the doctor is pretty much like, yeah, that's still really low. I was like, and that was a pretty big hit. Which, and at that point, like I said, I'm now going into month 8. When we saw the 4.4 million, the doctor suggested that we bump the ACG up again. So now I'm at 3,000 IUs. So keep doing the math, guys. 3,000 IUs every other day. That means I go through a vial every 4 injections. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the following Monday, I'm out of a vial. Oh, good. I'm sorry if we didn't answer it. Tell me.
No, she did. Yeah, you did.
Oh, okay. I couldn't see it. So now I'm at 3,000 IUs every other day on top of anastrozole, which is an estrogen blocker, Monday and Thursday, because my estrogen levels have gotten so high. My testosterone levels as of my last hormone blood test, my testosterone is at 157. I'll say it again, 157. I am just 7 points higher than the max of a woman. And my estrogen levels are all out of whack, along with other aspects, my SHGB, my sex hormones, I forget what it is. But essentially, they had to put me on more of an estrogen blocker because my nipples are really sensitive. Yeah. And I guess with that, I hope I answered the question. Maybe is that a good segue into the side effects?
Yeah. Let's talk about the side effects. I mean,